Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, hosting Cruz. And guys, interesting news has developed earlier today, I should say, between the then now WBO 154-pound champions, the Tower Inferno Sebastian Fondura, has officially vacated his WBO junior middleweight title to pursue the Tim Tyzu rematch in a fight that Sebastian Fondura won by decision in a bloody fight, one of the bloodiest fights I've ever seen in boxing. Very exciting fight that was. So he vacates the title to pursue that fight, the rematch. And now that leaves the number one contender to the WBO title, ranked number one, Xander Zayas, who was already in line in position to fight Sebastian Fondura. They couldn't agree. They were in negotiations for the fight, and they couldn't come to terms on the fight. So they wanted to go to purse bid. I think the purse bid was set for tomorrow or Friday, I can't remember. But it didn't need it to get there because it got canceled today because Sebastian Fondura decided to let go of the title, which leaves the title vacant, and now Xander Zayas automatically fights now for the vacant WBO junior middleweight title. Now his opponent, it's not official, but the name that's floating around out there is Jorge Garcia Perez out of Mexico. He's a Mexican veteran, 20 years old. Almost 40 fights in his professional career. He's 33-4 with 26 KOs. Coming off a split decision win over Charles Conwell, who is, in my opinion, before the loss, one of the most dangerous fighters at 154 pounds. Like, comes to fight, punching power, both hands. He actually put a fighter in a coma, and actually he never made it out, and that's Patrick Day. So he has caused some tragedy in the ring in the past. So that always makes a fighter dangerous, especially that they're strong and powerful like Conwell. But when he fought Jorge Garcia Perez, that was an upset loss. It was a split decision. Charles Conwell was the favorite. He was labeled, like I said, to be that next guy at 154, potential world champion. And he lost by split decision to the underdog in Perez. And like they say, you can never count out a Mexican. And Perez, once again, proved that you can't count out a Mexican who's hungry, who's looking for a better life, better money, and to be world champion. And Perez was in there to win. 28 years old, hungry. He was overlooked in this fight, and he went in there, let his hands go in a pretty close fight. But I thought Perez got the better of the exchanges. I thought he threw more punches, so he deserved the win. You know, it is what it is. Conwell should have done more, let go more, and maybe the decision would have been different. But either way, Perez got the job done, and now he's being talked and rumored or to fight Xander Zayas for the vacant title. In another chapter, once made official, in the rivalry between Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters, we have another one here. We will have another one between Xander Zayas and Perez in what should be a pretty good fight, because Perez now, in my opinion, he's a live dog. He's hungry. He's young, just like Xander Zayas. Of course, Xander Zayas is much younger at 21, 22. And the more skilled and talented. But Perez, like I said, you can't count out a Mexican. You know, Perez comes forward. He throws a lot of punches. He has good punching. He has good punching power. So stylistically, it's a good fight because you got Pettis coming forward, trying to stalk the more skill off his back foot, trying to counterpunch um, Xander Zayas, um, who's going to be very sharp and crisp with his combos and shots. And of course, Pettis has to be careful because Xander Zayas early in the fight can drop you. He's proven that many times in the fight, like in the first round. You gotta be careful. Like the first couple rounds, Xander Zayas detonates his punches like a bomb. And if you don't have your hands up, you can get caught slipping. And you get caught slipping, you may end up seeing yourself on the canvas. So Pettis has to be careful. But that's what's going on here. And in the process of Sebastian Fondura vacating his title to pursue the Tim Tyzu fight, that means we're not gonna get Tim Tyzu versus Keith one time Thurman, because that was the next fight that was in the talks and to being made. Both guys wanted it, and it seems to me now since Fondura dropped the belt to pursue Tim, then now we're gonna get Tim versus Fondura 2 instead of Thurman. And that would have been a good fight, Thurman and Tim. Both guys were coming off impressive wins by stoppage. So to set up that fight, but it seems to me that Thurman now is going to have to go other ways. But because Tim now is busy with Fondura and I know Tim, even though he wanted the Thurman fight, I'm sure he has no problem trying to avenge the loss to Fondura. So yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to come out here and talk together about this. This news, this interesting news. Xander Zayas, first world title shot, likely against Jorge Garcia Perez for the vacant WBO 154-pound belt. And the next thing here about Xander Zayas, fans, haters, they all in the comment section, oh, look at that. Xander Zayas fighting another nobody. Now, this time for a world title. Even now in the world title fight, he fights a nobody. Or Xander Zayas didn't want the smoke. Ladies and gentlemen, Xander Zayas, he's been wanting the smoke. He has stepped up to some of the big names in the division. He stepped up to Virgil Ortiz. Ortiz decided to go fight Israel Madrimov. He stepped up to Sebastian Fondura. We all saw it. He wanted to face off his sister Gabriela Fondura, excellent fighter as well, said, nah, we're not going to have that. But Xander Zayas wanted it. And now look at where we are. We're not even going to have the fight because Sebastian Fondura decided to vacate the belt, which means he has ignored and turned his back on Xander Zayas just like Virgil Ortiz did. And most likely his excuse is Xander Zayas is not going to bring me anything to the table if I beat him. And I disagree with that because Xander Zayas, yes, he's never been a world champion. But if Sebastian Fondura was to go in there and knock off Xander Zayas, he'll be knocking off one of Top Rank's top investments. Undefeated, supposed to be the next big thing out of Puerto Rico. And here he comes knocking him off. And by stoppage, if anything, which is even more impressive. So by Virgil not wanting to fight Zayas due to not because he feels he's not going to gain anything from it, and Fondura, then I disagree on that. Beating Xander Zayas is impressive. You're knocking off an undefeated young rising talent who has a lot of hype behind him and supposed to be the next big thing out of the island of Puerto Rico. So it's something to brag about if you beat him. Yes, you're not gonna become a world champion. You're not gonna be picking up a world title, but that's an upset, in my opinion. That'll be like an upset win. And a big win. Solid, if anything. So yeah. Xander Zayas does want to smoke. He does wants to fight the best. But it seems to me that anytime he steps up to a name, they always turn it back on him and use the excuse of, if I fight him and beat him, I'm not gonna gain anything from it. Well, we'll see what happens when Xander Zayas fights Jorge Perez, and if Xander Zayas becomes world champion, then I guess that's what it takes for the big names to turn around and said, okay, let's fight Zayas. So yeah, that's just want to come here and talk to you about this, man. Xander Zayas likely to fight Jorge Garcia Perez out of Mexico for the vacant WBO title. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think about this fight in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about everything that has been happening, that has happened since Fondura dropped the belt. Fondura versus now Tyzu, number 2. Xander Zayas versus likely Jorge Perez. And now Keith Thurman is out of the water with nothing to do for now. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sosin Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing right here. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.